Hello and good afternoon, dear listeners. Please feel welcome to join in for yet another episode of Startup.Tampere Podcast, where the live and buzz and kick of the Startup.Tampere ecosystem happens. Dear listeners, today I'm very excited about the topic. We'll be talking about a new startup program called the Startup Rocket. And today, our dear guest Julia and Ishan will be sharing some of the insights and stories behind the program, what's the aims of the program, and who can participate. So anyone there out listening and interested to building your own startup and having the first steps towards building something of a new unicorn, let's tune in and hear out what Julia and Ishan has to tell us. So, but as per usual, I like to start with a few warm-up questions to get our guests comfortable in their chairs and so. But hey, Ishan and Julia, warmly welcome first to the show.
Thank you for having us. It's really nice to be here.
Do you, Ishan, also want to say something?
No, I'm good. Thank you as well. Yeah, it's been. I think I'm very excited for this. So.
Excellent. Good to have you guys. Of course, our listeners are all about the stories behind the people. So who do we have here today? Maybe, Ishan, we could start with you. Could you briefly introduce yourself and what brought you to the Startup.Tampere ecosystem?
My name is Ishan. I'm originally from Nepal, a small country, they're far away. I've been involved in especially in the Tampere startup ecosystem in the Platform 6 house for the last 4.5 years. I've worked in 3 startups there, but also been heavily involved in the community and community building, especially working together with startups there and driven individuals, mostly with Tribe Tampere. I was also involved in another Finnish ecosystem in Turku before I was here. When I was studying, I went through this whole student process of winning a hackathon and building your own startup and not working out. Then after that, I had some personal issues, so I went back home, and then now I'm back here again to Tampere. What brought me here is because of my previous life in Turku, as I had this winning hackathons, doing stuff, building startups was kind of a thing. And when I came to Tampere first, it was during Corona times. I reached out to Tribe Tampere people even before I was here. So I came first day to my apartment, second day I came to Platform 6. And since then, I have been there. So it's been
never left.
Yeah, never left. Yeah. So
some people even say that you're part of the furniture.
yeah, they do.
I think not part of furniture, but a furniture.
Yeah. So that tells a lot of stories. Yeah, that's how involved I am there. Yes.
And it's excellent to have you because you have a long perspective on the startup ecosystem in Tampere. So I think it's wonderful that we had the opportunity to have this discussion. And what about you, Julia?
Well, my story is not nearly as interesting as Ishan's, but to start off with, how I got into the ecosystem of Tampere. Well, I was born and raised here in Tampere, so technically I was almost born into the ecosystem, I could say. No, but actually I did part of my studies in Pro Academia at Tampere University of Applied Sciences, where people study entrepreneurship and team leadership. So during those times there, I actually got a bit more familiar with the ecosystem players here in Tampere startup ecosystem. And then 2.5 years ago, I actually started working for Tribe Tampere, which is a startup community here. And that was the actual entrance to the startup ecosystem here. So that was kind of like long story short.
Yeah. And then, of course, both of you are familiar faces from social media creation, but also playing DJs and nice tunes and making sure that the vibe and the community keeps evolving and becoming stronger and stronger. So on many different levels you are involved, and that's excellent. So thinking about a little bit the role and well, as mentioned, the trajectory of both of you. You've been involved for a few years now, and what really motivates you guys to support the early stage sort of community building, but even the creation of the next founders?
I think this kind of goes back to like very early Platform 6 days. I think it started during Corona times, and it's also Platform 6 was just starting. So most of the players there at that time, or who were active community members, were thinking about how to like build a community and build a whole startup ecosystem. So I think the conversation already started from there, and there was a lot of different people figuring out what problems that they are and how we can fix it. And I think the community is, for me, the biggest factor, the motivation of talking to those people, talking to these founders, especially also in off hours. Like mostly many of those conversations, many of their needs and expectations. We talked in the sauna, or we talked in like the open space in the kitchen while taking the coffee in the 5th floor. So I think when you hear those personal stories, I think when you talk about the human behind everything like that, I think we talked a lot about those stories, a lot about how much struggle the startup founders put in. And that's where I think the motivation came of actually helping the startup founders, when you have all these insights, and then how do you kind of create a program for those people.
I think it's an excellent way to put it. And right, sort of like, would like to follow up, Julia, towards you, like from your perspective, what really inspired you two and the rest of everyone who's been involved working on creating Startup Rocket? What really inspired you, and what was kind of the spark behind this?
Well, I can almost continue from what Ishan kind of explained, that it all comes from the community, and because community is built by people, like there wouldn't be community without the people. And at least during my time at Tribe, like I've seen how big effect the people actually make. Because being an entrepreneur or starting your own startup or whatever business, like it can be quite lonely journey. And you can like clearly see the value that people get from each other, from the peer support, and just that alone, that they are able to share their concerns or feelings or basically highs and lows, also the successes. And basically, I think that's where we started to build, and we kind of like, we saw that there's a great value there, but how can we make it even more like structured and give even like more straightforward value to those who are actually building something.
And maybe sort of continue from there. Of course, building a company includes a lot of different stages and you know, challenges as well. And I mean, since you have been involved for a long time, and now you have the new Rocket program, which we're going to talk more in concrete terms in a second or two. But would like to take this opportunity to pick your brains a little bit. And what are some of the, Ishan, can you share some of the main challenges you see that early stage founders have when they are about to start their venture?
Yeah, I think I can go back to conversations I had, especially with Selina and the others, very strong ecosystem people there. And we used to have a lot of conversations about it. I think one thing, a team that combined all those problems, all those things, was the startup mindset. Like they were struggling to build that startup mindset. How do you build that startup mindset in all these early stage individuals? I remember having a chat with Selina, and she was saying that there are all these founders who either think too little or too big, or like they are too much focused on building or planning rather than going and talking to customers and actually kind of building together with them, not having the right team or not looking for the team, or if you have a team, they are like a carbon copy of each other. So there were all these kind of little problems and things that were always there. And that all come back to not having this kind of mindset right away. And it's not, the startup mindset doesn't develop in one day. It's a part of a process, it's part of a structure, and the community plays a bigger role. So I think it's all comes to those problems and how do you solve those problems, but looking at it from a bigger picture again and figuring out how you can properly support them move forward. And I think those are the biggest problems we can see.
Is there something, Julia, would you like to add on that?
No, I think that was pretty good answer already. And I think one is also the kind of like the feeling of uncertainty. Because of course, when you're starting something new, especially if you're like a new founder, first-time founder, there is uncertainty. And of course, you cannot know for sure, you cannot predict the future, how the journey is going to look like. But where the founders actually find the resilience and find the way to kind of like push through, even though they don't know what's ahead of them. So basically, what are the ways that we can support in that?
Yeah, I think I could add one more point on top of that. I think if you look back at if you look at all the successful startup companies and think about what are the commonalities that the founders should have, it's you need to be resilient, you need to be persistent on what you are building, and you need to build a product that people like and users love using. It should be some it should be a solution for their needs and expectations and something that they love using. So those two things, how do you actually bring that to early stage startups? And we thought about that quite a lot, especially it comes back to the founder. It always comes back to the founder. And kind of building those resilient, giving them clarity, giving them structure, goal setting, and all of those things, what are in the program, comes from solving those solutions and solving those problems.
It's very interesting what you bring up there, both of you, and somehow takes me back to what we started discussing from is how did you both of end up in the startup ecosystem in Tampere, and how you mentioned that you moved into your flat and then the next day you were already at Tribe, sort of visiting the place and see it from experience from yourself. How do you guys see that? How does the program fit kind of to the general mission of Tribe? I mean, we who are familiar with the ecosystem and who have experienced Tribe, we know it's kind of like the warmest startup community up in the north. So how do you see this fit align with kind of like the general vision and mission of Tribe?
I think it fits very well, and I would say the official mission of Tribe is to unite, whether it's individuals or startups or companies or organizations, in kind of like all of the levels. And I think basically what Ishan already mentioned, that with this program, with Startup Rocket, the goal is to focus on founders instead of like startups per se, because founders are those who actually make the startups stronger and better, and overall startups in the end. Yeah. So I think that's also kind of like what Tribe is doing. The core is the people behind the ideas.
Yeah, that's very well said. And adding on top of that is like most of we're not trying to help them become like get big funding or anything, but trying to invest on the founders, invest in their human capital, invest in the social capital in the community. So when you invest in those things, we eventually our premise is that eventually they become resilient founders, and eventually, even if this startup doesn't work, they are gonna make something work in the future. So really much like having this very good investment in the people, in the community, and in the social capital.
It kind of sounds to me like that one of the end games or the best potential outcomes of the program is then basically to have them to carry the torch further to the next step, whether it could be applying from another accelerator program eventually, maybe the new Startup.Tampere accelerator by Redstone, or basically, or going via Tress, or whatever. Basically, the point of view is that you kind of you help to support the people to develop that mindset, build that resilience, and when they enter the next stage, when there's new challenges of being an entrepreneur, sort of evolves and appears. And for example, applying for larger fundings or for that stage. But I don't want to put any more words to your mouth because actually, but I was just very sort of like, but this only goes to show how important this work is, that what Julia mentioned about, it's actually about people really. And we need to find ways to support the people from building that mindset state is equally important as sort of building your sort of MVP or having your first ideal customer profile and then customer like. So we have to work on several layers here when we work with startups and startup founders. But how would you, Julia, describe the Startup Rocket kind of like in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, well, if I had to describe one word, I would use journey. It will be a journey for both the participants and for us and the whole ecosystem, but it's a learning journey. It's a growth journey.
I think that's excellent to put it, like based on what I hear from you guys. And what about Ishan? What do you find? What separates Startup Rocket from other programs or services that we can find in the ecosystem?
Yeah. Kind of think about how the other programs are actually running. It's they are very highly focused on their business side of things. Like how do you build your business? How do you the things that you said about ideal customer profile, building your MVP, and then like being funding ready, getting product market fit. And our focus has been more again to create resilient founders. And then on top of that, in the project, we are also trying to get them a little bit more RDI ready. So kind of get into this process of involving customers, like we also have AI tools and whatnot to kind of bring them in so that they can also help build, again, I said the products that users love and resilient founders back to it again. So those two things again come back.
Yeah, and I would add like probably in the end, in an ideal situation, we would have startups that are more prepared for whatever is coming next, and they're more prepared for the startup world. They know where to get support. They know where to ask help, where to go next, or what to actually do with their idea in case they want to pivot or whatever it might be. But they are more prepared. They have more. They have a bigger skill set or tool set.
Basically, it could also be said somehow that you are supporting the early stage founders to become fit for the fight.
Yes, that's very well said.
What they're expecting in the next steps or on journey.
One thing I would say on top of it is, as Julia says, I think she has written it one time, that we help founders take courage. That courage is a big word that I want to put it there, to take courage to go out and talk to customers. Take courage to, like you said, be ready to go apply for accelerator programs. Like
to basically move forward.
Yes. And why not even go to Silicon Valley, apply for YC? Just take courage. That's making it more prepared to do that thing. Take the next step.
Yeah. This is a really interesting concept to me, I have to say, and I'm really happy that you got the funding for this, because this is indeed, it serves a clear purpose, what we need to focus also on the entrepreneur themselves. Thinking a little bit about the structure of the program, you don't have to go too much into detail, but to give it for the listeners who are maybe in the state of mind of thinking, I want to build on that resilience, I want to become fit for fight. What can these people who are listening or those ones who will apply, what will those 3 month structure look like? What will they see and experience?
Yeah, we have kind of built this structure based on like these core drives. We kind of did some research on how does core drives of human beings work. So there is this intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So we are trying to help them build this intrinsic motivation of meaning, of engagement, of doing something, ownership. But at the same time, we're also giving them the extrinsic motivation of accomplishments and doing something. So we have planned the program in such a way that there are weekly retrospective, and then there are monthly reflection sessions. And then there is, in the beginning of the program, you also do goal setting. So these are all utilized in such a way that you are moving forward, you are getting certain things on certain times and moving towards your goals. So there's extrinsic motivation that I'm moving forward, but at the same time, there's also a feeling of ownership of the product, of the thing that you are building. There's a meaning of why you are building this thing. There is social influence that I need to do it for my team. I need to do it for the people. I need to do it for the customers. In the end, it's all about people, really, about your team and about the people who are using it. So kind of like this structure is made so that you are building extrinsic motivation, you are doing this weekly retrospective, you are talking to people, you have this structured peer support, and then there's monthly reflection sessions that is done through us and some experts to kind of help them move forward more clearly. On the second month, we also have the sparring sessions that will kind of help you move even more forward. So that's a little bit more descriptive way of saying, but
Yeah, and all of this, all the components that Ishan explained, we tried to make in a flexible way. That's why the format of the program is hybrid, because we wanted to also be as inclusive as possible. So even if you're not yet full-time startup founder, but you might still be having some job, or you might be studying. So the 4 reflection session meetings, they are on-site meetings. So they take place at Platform 6, but then there's the online things like the weekly retrospectives and everything. So kind of like it's a balance between meeting face-to-face and then having the online platform there, like with constant support.
Yeah, on a nutshell, I could say that we don't want you to be part of the program for being part of the program. We want you to build your startup, but while any kind of friction comes, we will dare to support you. So the system is built on that level. The first month you will be kind of given some kind of direction and moving forward. The second month is more support with the sparring sessions and everything. And the third is like we are making you prepared to kind of move forward. So first month, second month, third month, each month have reflection sessions, and each month have weekly retrospective. That's 5 minute stuff. So we have made this structure in such a structured way that you kind of feel that your momentum is always keeps on going forward.
Yeah, and I think this kind of like the whole picture is, well, I don't want to use the word perfect, but it's quite close to a perfect mix of like flexibility and accountability.
Yes.
So that was kind of like the base that we wanted to build on top of.
Yeah, and to me it sounds very logical, and something another aspect that you mentioned that I find highly interesting is you mentioned the tools of the AI, the potential of it. Could you, Julia, start briefly and explain how will Startup Rocket help founders use AI, and can you maybe give some examples of how AI is applied in the program?
Well, God, I could, but I think Ishan is much better person to answer this question, so I'm gonna shift the microphone to him.
Working on each other's strengths.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly. And I can already say in the beginning that we are not bringing AI just so that there is AI in there.
Yeah.
It's the whole process is the fact that how can AI be used so that it helps founders the best way. We have looked. And I can give a practical example in the end. First, I can kind of give a brief description how AI is being used and how AI can be used. AI is being used in two different sections. One is the whole program, the online side of the program is AI native, so it's built with AI being the core element of it.
Right.
And then there is the AI workshops. That's actually workshops happening in the on-site meetings. That's going to help you how, as a founder, you can use AI to move your startup forward. Coming back to the AI native part of things, we recognize the need themes of the founders. So the need themes, how bigger the need is, like how big the problem is for them, the frequency of the problem, how often that problem happens to them. And the third thing is the AI advantage. So is there an AI advantage of actually using AI in that process? So we have come up with these 3 or 4 things categories, like decision clarity, that they struggle quite a lot, like what to do next and how to do next. The second thing is the progress inside, like how much have I moved, like in 1 month, how much I've moved forward, second month, third month, like where am I at and where I need to go forward. The third thing is the action structure, like when we do the goal setting and everything like that. So you have what kind of actions do you need to take next?
Right.
And those things are kind of these core things in the AI part. So while you are doing those weekly retrospective, when the body is utilizing that, you also get insights on a monthly basis that what is your progress inside, for example. I can give one example of how it can be used and how somebody can use it. And it's also using both sides. Also, we are using the AI to get some insights from them, and they're also getting from themselves. So let's say the action structure part of things, when in the beginning of the program, you are making your goal for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So you are utilizing AI based on the situation that you are in to actually create this actionable goals and what you need to move forward and everything. And you start working on that. And then what we see on a monthly basis is your progress, and it can kind of give a summary of what their blockers has been for the past month and how can we properly support them. So it comes as in like their blocker for each week. It can be summarized and can be put in bullet points. So when I'm doing a sparring session, I have clear understanding of what the problems that people have. So I don't need to ask them every day the question. So in a case that they have already been filling up, they have been working in Discord and talking to each other, and we are getting that data. And they are also getting themselves of getting better action, better clear structure, better decisions. So that's kind of more of this AI native process. So they are not technically using AI to do something, but it's kind of built in the process so that all the friction is taken away, and we can actually do the best things we can do is provide support for them, and they can understand how they can move forward. So that is like more of the core part of the program. We also have this consistency support, like we have a couple of practical tools and some videos and stuff, so they can maybe utilize that to get quick answers. That's something that we want to put in there. But apart from that the core element of AI is being utilized underneath the hood but still the decisions and everything is made by yourself. We don't take the decisions out of it. The judgment is not being taken out of anybody. So our decisions, your decisions kind of are.
Yeah. I mean, this sounds like exactly the kind of like a structure and the way where AI gives us completely new tools how to build not only the startup company, like asking the right type of questions to have your ideal customer profile and all that, but actually to be utilized in the kind of like the resilience creation, like strengthening that. It's really interesting now. We are living very interesting times from that perspective. And could you imagine this discussion like 4 years ago, for example?
No.
Like it's crazy, right?
Someone would have mentioned like AI. I was like, what is that? Like, is that a TV channel or what are we even talking about? It's like, it's insane. Yeah, it's crazy.
And also like within the context of, it's not like, please write me a report type of a use case, but rather into the mindset formation. Like it's really interesting from that point of view. AI is important, of course, but the most important thing here is your sort of your target groups. Let's talk a little bit about the eligibility of the program. So who is Startup Rocket designed for? Who should apply and participate?
Well, I think the baseline criteria is that you need to have a business idea that you're working on, and maybe you're a bit past the idea stage already, and you have a business ID, so Y-tunnus. And you can be either a solo founder or a team. So basically, business ID, an idea, startup idea that you're working on something innovative, and either you're a solo founder or you as a team. But you can maybe elaborate, Ishan, a bit more on the who should actually apply.
Yeah, I think it's this early stage founder. That there are different terms that people use it, but I think it's for startups who are really early in their journey, and it's founders who want clarity, support, and a community to kind of move forward. And I think we also involve them in the Tampere startup community. So this very early stage founders and early stage startups who want to have clarity, who want to have a community, and who want to have these connections to Tampere startup ecosystem and different players and everything like that inside moving forward. That's our clear customer based on what value we are giving to them as well.
Yeah. So basically those startup founders who are building something, but they need something a bit extra, some extra nudging or something in order to take the next step. Yeah. I think that's kind of like the core essence of the target group.
Exactly. And how does then the application process work?
The application process works that we have like an application form. You fill up the form.
Where can one find this form?
It's go to TribeTampere.com.
Yeah, TribeTampere.com.
And then there is a lot of flashy instruments about Startup Rocket. There's a little rocket sign there as well. So you go click on Startup Rocket. We have our dedicated web page for Startup Rocket. You can also get more information there about, like we have talked a little bit about what the program contains, but
so the schedule and
the schedules and dates and times and everything like that. And then there is an Apply Now button. You click on the Apply Now button. It redirects you to a form.
You fill up the form.
You fill up the form. They are quite simple questions, but we do want the people to fill them up carefully. There aren't that many questions. We are looking at people's determination, how is the meaning of actually building the startup, how much we are willing to give to the community, and how much community-centric can you be. And also the third thing is the scalability of the idea and the business potential and the RDI potential. So these three things are the biggest things we are looking for. And determination, again, we always go back to the human side. The determination trumps over everything, but the other two factors are also biggest factors.
Yeah, and about that, because most likely the people or teams who are applying or think about applying to a program are very driven by their idea. They're very hyped about their idea. So we want to see that. Like reading through the applications, we want to see, because most likely they're like crazy, like they love their idea. Yeah. They love the solution that they are creating. So like we want to see that also in the application.
Yeah.
And would this be probably also one of the advices that you would give to the applicants?
Definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
We would love to see that, because I think that's what we are trying to figure out, this community fit, and because it's the program in itself, as you can see, it's so much depending on the participants. So the better quality the participants are willing to give, and they are willing to put into the program, more they get out of it. And we need to have a proper cohort that everybody's willing to do that. And that creates a great helping each other kind of thing. So that's exactly what we are looking for, why we are looking for that, those kind of individuals.
It's funny because you actually already kind of answered my follow-up question that would have been, what kind of commitment is expected? So would you like to still elaborate on that? So something about the flexibility of the participation, but at the same time, the commitment side. Is there some few words about this?
Like I said, in the time, we want you to focus more on building your startup. So the flexibility side of things is we don't have that many compulsory things. Apart from the on-site reflection sessions and the kickoff meeting, we don't have anything that you have to compulsory be there.
So basically there are four on-site
meetings every month. Rest of the time you are like you are working on your goals. Yeah. You're taking 5 minutes to fill on the weekly retrospective every Friday, and you'll be given all these AI workshops and also different kind of events that we are doing in Tribe Tampere, like breakfast and afterworks and founder matchmaking events. So all of this you can pick and choose which one you fit and which one is best for you. We also kind of give you warm connections to different kind of people in the Tampere startup ecosystem. So I think the flexibility part comes to there, but we always say flexibility but accountability. So we create all these kind of systems. You need to be accountable of yourself, of your team, and how do you move forward?
Yeah, that was a very, very good answer already. And I could add that also one level of commitment in that is that even though it's flexible, you can basically work whenever, wherever. But the fact that you are active, you want to work for your own project, but because it's so human focused, the program, that you're also there for the others. Yes. Because like Ishan already mentioned, basically the more you give, the more you also get. And actually just today I was onboarding this new community member for Tribe, and we also had a good discussion on that the more you kind of like learn how to ask and receive help, the more help you get, but also it works the other way around. The more help you kind of like learn to give to others, and these two combined, the bigger and better support network you're able to build around you, and that can be quite valuable asset to have as a startup founder.
It's kind of like living through the idea or the philosophy behind Tribe to very concrete participation, right?
Yes,
exactly.
In a way,
exactly.
To then take your idea, your business idea to the next stage that could eventually then be skyrocketing and become the next unicorn in Tampere. It's a very, very interesting kind of approach and perspective on things, what you guys are explaining us today here. If you think we take one step further, then again back to those ones who would be applying and running through the program, what can founders sort of expect after 3 months? Where are they? Who are they? Like on their journey?
I would say they will build very good habits. That's habit of being a founder, and that is something that is I think even not really seen so much as a big deal, but you need to have some kind of a resilience. We talked about it again, but you are building habits, you are learning different habits, because you need to reach out to customers, you need to reach out to founders, you need to reach out to investors. So you will be more human ready for the startup world. So it's not like next thing you need to do, because the things comes right one after each other. So when you need to reach out to investor, when you need to reach out to this, you already have built a habit of how to do that. You have learned from the others how to do that. So after 3 months, you would be more resilient, you will be more motivated to move forward in your startups, and B, you will also have this RDI element of using AI and using different tools and services, and how can you move forward. And lastly, one more thing is you'll also be integrated into the Tampere startup ecosystem. So you learn, as Julia was saying, how to use different services, different tools that our Tampere startup ecosystem is providing, and be part of the community as a whole.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly. I was listening to you like, I buy everything.
Yeah, I could also add that also like already throughout the program, they learn and they do or make like steady progress. And that continues after the programs. They have more clarity on what's coming up next, what to do next. And also because, of course, people, they focus on their startups. They want to know how to make their startup better. So after 3 months, like obviously, once you grow as a founder, your startup also grows stronger and bigger.
Yeah.
So, of course, naturally, after 3 months, your startup is also, it has developed, it has grown. It has reached the next step.
And this is exactly what we have seen in the past, like 4 years I have been involved with Tribe, that you see that people growing. And I'm pretty sure you have also seen, being part of the house for a while, like how people have grown as an individual, as a person. And you can see that the startups is being carried with them. So it's a whole process. And this 3 months is not 3 months. And this 3 months is just getting you the habit to be in a startup community. The life and everything continues after that. We will keep on supporting you from Tribe Tampere's perspective as a founder, as a thing. So you are just getting you started. It's just a starting point.
It's kind of like a support mechanism for the founder when she or he enters kind of like the harsh world of the valley of death, to like kind of like the whole startup journey, because it might be quite intimidating and exciting at the same time. And maybe what I could also feel and sort of sense through this discussion is that you support founders to avoid some of the pitfalls or actually question themselves and their company maybe plans or ideas or even business plan and alter that without losing the grip of sanity or their. Actually, I think the resilience word, of course, is the key here, but somehow trying to explain to our listeners why they should participate, because this is really interesting. Yet again, going back to the point of view, it's kind of like its own program for build fit for fight startup founders for Tampere startups, and I think that is really, really excellent what you guys have been cooking.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there will be blockers, there will be like ups and downs, and it's not about how to avoid them, it's about actually how to push through them.
There you go.
One thing I would add, like what you said kind of came back to me, is that we use this constraints-led coaching. So rather than we are kind of really strictly coaching people or telling them what to do, we are changing the affordances, changing the constraints. Yeah. Like if, for example, this is comes from a sports analogy. So if you are playing football and you have 11 versus 11, rather than coaching the person one-on-one, you change the size of the field to 5-on-5, and you learn how to pass and you kind of move forward. So we are kind of creating the changes and changing the affordances. Yeah. So people learn how to pass better and do better. So that's exactly the same thing we're doing, which is, again, the question that you asked, like, how is it different from the others? That's exactly how is it different from the others.
It's really about hanging in the game for as long as possible, because the startup and the business landscape is ever changing and there's constantly changes going on. It's really difficult for a founder to sort of grasp all the rules or know how the end game is going to pan out, because you simply don't know. You have to adapt all the time, and that requires resilience. Ishan and Julia, this has been wonderful. We are moving towards kind of like the end side of things.
Already?
I know, time flies, you know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I would like to use a moment or two for some closing reflections. What message would you have for the founders who are currently feeling a little bit uncertain about, is this a good idea that I go for this business idea, or should I stay cozy and warm in my current employment? Or what kind of a message or call to action you would have for founders?
I would say, first of all, like, it's completely normal to feel the uncertainty. That's part of the journey. And I think the important is to make the decision to take action. Just try it out. And I think the program is going to be great. I think we're super excited about the program. And if you're like thinking, if you feel uncertain, especially in that case, apply to the program. Because the essence of the program is that you're not alone. It's a shared journey. And as we like to say, like, you have the spark, you have the idea. And together we will launch the rocket that will actually make the spark into a star. I don't know.
I love the whispering star.
Yeah, I think that's very good points. And I think people who are uncertain, I think we talk back again about courage. we are helping you take courage. So you don't have to take those steps alone.
Yeah.
We'll be right behind you, and there's going to be community right behind you moving forward. So I think it's perfect for people who are uncertain, perfect for people who are just starting, who don't know, who have built a team, who have just started a business, have no idea what I'm going to do next. It's perfect. The program is just meant from the human side of things. It's just helping those people with decision clarity.
And it's interesting because it's not conflicting in any way with the other programs we have in Tampere. Actually, it's giving a support. It's a new structure.
I think they complement each other very well.
Exactly.
All the programs that are here.
And it's built like that. We planned it to be like that from the first point. But there are all these programs. I think we use this metaphor with Selina that it's there are lots of, we help you flow in the river, and then there are little islands where you can take and get like very specific support. But we are like the river behind your back and moving forward with those things.
I just have to comment here at the end. I feel amazed how comfortable we are that Ishan, you have already a few times mentioning Selina here, who is not familiar maybe for all our listeners, and that's okay. But Selina is one of the long-term community builders in Tampere startup ecosystem, from various roles, from being a coach to having our own startup and all kinds of things. And warm regards to Selina wherever you are, if you happen to be listening. The startup ecosystem needs people like Selina and the others who have been doing and trying and learning the tricks through new ways and having that resilience as she has as well, and many others.
Yeah.
I
will give one more shout out to who actually helped with the idea of Teemu Rautavalta, and he started starting the same company. We work in Bright Life at the same time, and how his progress has been now, like taking founders to Silicon Valley and now having his own startup and getting funding and all of those things. It shows like those people were so like bigger players, Selina and Teemu and all the others who
maybe
have helped this make this program better.
Exactly, and maybe we can make a sort of a collective shout out to all the to remember and appreciate everyone who's been building the community at various stages, from new factory to Pinni 47, I think, and the early builders of Platform 6 and from Tribe to...
Yeah, this is definitely, it's not me and Ishan building the program, or Ishan himself, like it wouldn't have happened with just the two of us, like without the community, without the people like who have been there and keep being there.
Yeah, it's has been a lot of talks in the sauna, it's a lot of talks in the kitchen, all of these things. The program came out of the community. I could even say that it was not our like we have an idea, let's make this program. No, it just was naturally, organically built based on all these people also contributing to the program in terms of how we should be and then building it, and to the bot, to everything like that.
I mean, you kind of grab the torch, and you're carrying it further, and then sort of igniting the light and fire for the next venture builders and startup founders in Tampere. And I think with those words, we are ready to end our discussion. But I would like to still give the final word for you. Now it's the moment to tell by when should people have applied, and maybe say one more time, TribeTampere.com, and from there apply. So final word for Julia and Ishan.
You can have the honors.
Okay, so the application closes as 15th of February. So apply before that.
Apply.
So, but apply right away, because we are also doing the interviews during the process. So
yes. We didn't mention that. Yeah. After the application form, there will also be follow-up interviews of people who applied.
So apply faster, so we can also take interviews with interesting candidates earlier. And the program runs 16th of March until 8th of June, if I'm correct. So 3 months. TribeTampere.com. Go there.
Woohoo!
Go there.
There you go. Thank you, Julia and Ishan. This was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.